What brings the worst out in people? Black Friday. Ah yes, the only day of the year you can see a Karen curb stomp a kid over a PS5. Inheritances. I've seen both my family and friends' families absolutely ripped apart after someone dies and another family member doesn't feel they've received their share, or that the will was unfair, or that property mysteriously goes missing before the estate is settled. Awful, awful stuff. I think the worst is my friend's dad and his sister haven't spoken for over 30 years due to a squabble over their mother's will. 30 years. The kicker is that they're both quite well off on their own. Friend's dad is a very, very successful trial lawyer and friend's aunt married a successful doctor. This wasn't money either of them ever actually needed, but they've not had a relationship for decades because of it. Frown. My grandmother isn't even dead and people are already deciding how they'll split the inheritance like there won't be a will. She's got hundreds of thousands and I've been consistently telling her to spend it all on herself. The lady never had a brand new car in all her life. She's 90 and got her license before she hit 20, she bought a thick SUV recently and a house for her and her daughter, cash. My wife is in healthcare and says you can often tell when someone in serious condition has a lot of money because the extended family all show up, but the vibe isn't sad so much as expectant. She was recovering one patient from an unexpected surgery, elderly, coming out of sedation, covered in tubes, oxygen, etc. And the family arrived and told my wife they decided to pull the plug, and she had to explain that their family member was not dying, not on life support, and would probably recover just fine, which seemed to elicit some consternation instead of relief. Kinda seems like an inheritance was on the table. Traffic. I live on a major 4-lane road going into the city, and the number of times I hear people screaming at each other over the smallest traffic infractions is honestly frightening. That, and all the car horns, which I jokingly refer to as the Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra's horn section. A person who is cut off while driving, F you. That same person who is cut off while walking, oop. Sorry. After you. I always liked the halt rule. If you're feeling hungry, angry, late or tired, then it's likely things you say or do will come off worse than you intend. Edit, lots of replies about the L being lonely. That works too. Turns out learning acronyms differently brings out the worst in some people too. One of my favorite quotes that is related to this: if you think everyone hates you, you probably need to sleep. If you think you hate everyone, you probably need to eat. I thought the L was for lonely. Both work. Divorce proceedings. Especially with kids involved. It can turn a couple of average people into monsters. Marriage Story captures this extremely well. By the end of it, I just hated lawyers. But to Christmas. Some good answers here, to which I'll add, giving things away for free. I've had the surreal experience of working at a Long Island tennis tournament attended by generally very wealthy people. They arrived in top-end luxury cars or limos, wearing designer clothes, and watches worth more than my car. I was tasked with opening a case of some sort of little branded tchotchke, like cheap pens, keychains, etc. and handing them out to the attendees as they walked the sponsor areas. People went berserk, shoving each other, lunging across the table. Thank cripes there was a table, to grab stuff from my hand, missing key tennis matches to lurk by our tent, awaiting the next crap dispersal. Wow. I've seen this type of thing happen many other times too, with people going to great lengths just to get some pittance of which they have no need. There was a line in Crazy Rich Asians: no one loves free stuff more than rich people. I was giving away a working fridge, and after dealing with 5 assholes, I decided to just throw shit away rather than try be nice. What a fucking waste of time that was. Jealousy not just for success. I've seen many relationships crumble because someone was happier than the other. Jealousy is often a secondary emotion to fear. It's a really hard one to process without addressing the fears creating it first. Envy is the same boat. Fight both with understanding the fears behind it first and work to be more secure about those items. Weddings. My father is a minister. He says he would rather help with a funeral over a wedding any day. Weddings leave people with a sense of extreme desperation to achieve perfection. My experience with this is that if you have a narcissistic family, it will become abundantly clear that they are not interested in your life whatsoever. Thanks to COVID, it didn't really happen as planned, so my family wasn't involved at all. We did a small ceremony with a few members of her family and it was lovely. It really worked out for the best. Red flags were flying the moment I told my mom, and she was upset that I didn't tell her first. My sister led with, "I'm not going if you invite Dad." My uncle and aunt rescinded their RSVP when we said we'd have to wait for all the RSVPs to come in before we let them add my cousin's boyfriend to the invitation. My other cousin got really upset that we weren't opening the wedding up to let kids be there. Apparently my wedding was going to be the opportunity for the rest of the family to see her infant. Lots of revelations were had. I'm sad my wife didn't have the wedding we worked hard for, but I'm glad it was really only around her family. Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.